not know, I'm Spencer Reagan with the Stronger Together Academy, the Stronger Together Education Academy, and or Stronger Together Performance Academy. Whatever you may know us from, it's all the same thing, and it is me, Spencer Reagan. Today, I want to do a mobility stack to help ease lower body hip, hamstring, hip flexor, soreness, tightness, and then include a little bit of our core, our midsection, our trunk. For muscle soreness, these movements are amazing. For developing body and motor control in kids, these stacks are amazing. We teach this workshop and have been lucky enough to recently teach it at Caper 22 in Los Angeles, where we show how to develop movement control in our kids and our students through slow, easy, replicable movement patterns that mimic human life, but allow kids to work through their comfortable abilities, okay? We don't try to overload their systems by giving them too much information, and we do slow it down, we ease it up and try and make it as easy to remember as possible so that they will learn a skill today that they can then build on for the rest of their life. Remember, that is the goal with being a teacher. You're trying to teach skills they will do for the rest of their life. We're also going to be teaching this workshop in New Orleans at Shape America 22 in end of April 30th, I believe, as the dates just came out for this workshop, which will be Saturday at 8 a.m. So we're going to teach you similar movements at that workshop. This one's a little bit different. We are going to have our own workshop coming up where we're going to do additional, it's like a mobility level 2 where we're doing just the stacks, helping you understand how you can improvise and change and modify. And we'll have that date for you in the comments once that all becomes hammered and locked in place. That will either be through Facebook chat rooms, which are new, and we have to practice with those first, or via Zoom. And if you are interested, just comment below, and we will get you all that information once that becomes available and the date becomes locked in place. A lot of moving parts you got to figure out first. All right, but that'll be very soon, possibly 2 to 3 weeks on a weekend, which is better for teachers. All right, so without any further ado, let's get started on our mobility stack. If you've taken one of our mobility workshops before, you'll know there are 6 starting positions. Heels is where we will be at today. All right, so I'm going to shift out of the way. You can see I have the pad right there. That all depends on what your surface is and where you're working with. You don't necessarily have to have anything on the floor, as we did in Los Angeles over the last week at Caper 22, which I previously mentioned. The floor was carpeted and completely comfortable. We were good to go, had no issues, no problems. Today, my surface, although carpeted, is concrete and kind of hard. So we put the pad down. You can use yoga mats or you don't even have to use them at all. Okay? All right, so let's get started. Heels, as you may or may not know, is both knees on the ground. Ankles, generally for better purposes, are here down. If you need to, you can be flexed like so, or you can be here. That way you can get further down. If you don't have the range of motion, you can actually sit back on your heels that way. Okay? So, remember, the beauty of stacks is they are interchangeable and they don't have any official structure. So no set standard of how you have to move. No set standard of how long you do the move for, because it allows for you to create, you to use how your kids can, let's say, hold their attention without being too distracted. If you need to shorten it up, go for it. If you need to add less or take away moves or add more moves, go for it. As I mentioned in the description, we usually do 1 to 2 moves with our younger kids and more moves stacked on top of each other with our older kids. All right, so let's get started. We're in heels. We're going to go back onto our heels. We're going to rise up and put our knee at a 90-degree angle. Then we're going to shift our hips forward, our pelvis forward, and get a very good hip flexor stretch right here. Remember, your hip flexors are attached here and here. So if you want to add a lean back, you'll get an extra deep stretch throughout the hip flexor right there. Be careful, you don't want to stretch too far and really aggravate the muscle. remember, this is about learning movement. It's also about improving range of motion flexibility. But you got to be really nice to yourself. The reason we love it as warm-ups is because it is gentle. It's a slow, gradual progression. We're not just full force into the start. Okay, so our knee at 90 degrees, hip flexor forward. Now, I can stay up, or I can shift back into the heel. I can then do the opposite side with the same movement, and that's going to help to develop more body control because you're having to go up and down, shifting your body, learning how to adapt. So, all on one side or back and forth, same movements, do a little bit different requirements that you can implement how you see best for your kids, your students. All right? Your athletes. So for today, I'm going to do just one at the, oops, lost my button. I'm just going to do the right side. So, hip flexor forward. I'm going to stay up to kind of speed up the process a little bit to show you more. Okay, then I shift back to the starting position of this, not the heels position, and I'm going to bring my foot forward. So I'm now overextended. I'm not at 90 degrees. Now I'm going to shift my hips, my pelvis backwards. Now I'm going to get more hamstring. Okay, now I'm going to shift open. Now I'm going to get more adductor. Okay. Now I'm going to shift back into 90, and I'm going to add a side lean, which in the description you'll see is oblique right here. And we shift into the knee, not away, because we really have nothing to keep us balanced. So we shift into the leg and just reach up and overhead. Okay? So, without me talking through it too much, let's do the move. So, heel, hip flexor, hamstring, adductor, obliques. So I went through the entire stack. Now I could go into the other leg, hip flexor. Okay. Hamstring. See how I kind of shift my foot around? That's helping to develop that body control. I could go from hamstring to straight into the move, and that's fine too. Okay? I could also do a couple reps at a time in the same thing. Remember, how do you feel is best for what you need to work on? Sometimes kids take a little bit longer or master a little bit quicker. So I can do hip flexor, reset, not starting position, just a reset, and shift again. Sometimes those shift resets really help us to get into a deeper position, and we can turn it into a little bit more of a dynamic movement, dynamic mobility. Remember, movement through the muscle pliability of itself, stretching and easing and stretching and easing. All right? I'm not trying to get too overly complicated or give you too many options. I'm just saying those are our possible options. The reason why these are so amazing is they do always lend themselves to new possibilities. So, in the description you saw, I said we're going to do a stack of 4. We did hip flexor, hamstring, adductor, and oblique. Now I'm going to freeform a couple as I've already sort of started. So I'm going to go heels to adductor. I'm then going to put my hand down, hand over, and now I come back. So I have adductor. Now if I do this, I'm going to get the lat and the rear deltoid as well. Okay, if I place here, I'm going to get a little bit of the obliques, a little bit of the rhomboids, a little bit of the supraspinatus, infraspinatus area teres. I'm also going to get the adductor. And then I just shift back. Okay? All of those based off of our heels lunge position. Okay? I can come up here, add a lean back if I so desire. And that's an easy addition to anything we've done before. Okay? So, everything is a free-form capability. Just be careful of overstimulating your kids. We don't want to give them too many things to where they really don't learn and master the movement pattern. That's why I say we usually start with 1 or 2 movements with our younger kids to let them master the movement, because you really want mastery. Doing a bunch of stuff that you don't necessarily do well makes not a whole lot of sense as kids. We are trying to master skills that they will then continue on for the rest of their life and be capable of. So that when you're not there with them, you know you laid that great foundation, and they will be able to continue that and build on top of that foundation for the rest of their life. And that's really what teaching is about, is building a foundation that future teachers can help establish new levels, but on that solid foundation. All right, so let's do one more. Ready? Heels. Hip flexor. Heel. See how now I'm actually going down every time. And then back down. Now I would do that other leg. All right, so that's just one stack that you can do from our heels position. We do love the lunge position because it does help with loosening up hamstrings, quads, hips, which does get tight in adults very often, especially after lower body workouts. And we are trying to do these before our workouts to help alleviate that muscle soreness, the tight, achy joints. And on our kids, we're doing the same thing because, hey, remember, we're teaching them establishing that foundation so that when they're older and developing that muscle soreness from workouts, they can create their muscle stacks to stay loose, improve their workouts, decrease the risk of injury, increase their overall blood flow and their muscle body awareness, body control, develop a better holistic wellness approach to the fitness of our youth. Then we hope we can combat the rising epidemic of obesity in the world, this country, and everywhere else. So, great mobility stack. We did heels position, where we did hip flexor, hamstring, abductor, and then obliques. All of those are movements out of our flexion extension positions, but great muscular involvement. So that's all I have today. Please like or share. If you do want to see the rest of the presentation that we're going to do, be sure to comment. If you share it with your friends, it does help to spread the word, and we can get the physical fitness, physical education world really improving as far as I'm concerned, so that we start to teach kids better how to control their bodies, develop that coordination, the skill set of lifestyle or life balance and stuff. Okay? All right, so like or comment, help spread the word. And that's all I have for you. I'm Spencer Aiken with the Stronger Together Academy. Thank you guys.